Okay, we all know the date, right? 1492. But the story of what actually happened when the old world and the new world finally collided, well, it's so much deeper and more complicated than what we learned in school. This isn't just a story about ships and explorers. It's really a mystery that's been 20,000 years in the making. You know, it's funny, if you actually read Columbus's own journals, you get this weird sense that he was kind of disappointed. He was looking for the legendary riches of Asia, for gold-paved cities, and instead, he found something completely different. That little hint of disappointment, it points to a massive, fundamental gap between the two worlds that were about to crash into each other. So that brings us to the big question. Why was this encounter so incredibly lopsided? How did a few hundred guys from Spain with steel swords, horses, and a bunch of germs manage to topple empires with millions of people? And the answer has nothing to do with one group being better or smarter. No way. The answer is buried in deep history. To solve this mystery, we've got to put on our detective hats. Our investigation doesn't start in 1492. Nope, we have to go back tens of thousands of years to the moment when the two halves of the human family went their separate ways. Just take a look at this timeline. That moment, around 20,000 years ago, when humans first crossed into the Americas, that's basically the starting gun for two completely separate human experiments. For millennia, while the old world is domesticating animals and inventing writing, the new world is on a totally different track. So 1492, you see, it isn't the start of a story. It's the violent, shocking end to their long separation.
So what does this all mean? It means the outcome of 1492 was pretty much baked in the cake long before Columbus even thought about setting sail. The real clues aren't in the battles themselves. They're in the deep environmental and historical forces that shaped each half of the globe.
All right, our first major clue. And trust me, this one is a biggie. The literal shape of the continents. It sounds almost too simple, but its effect was absolutely monumental. This right here lays it out so clearly. Think about it. Eurasia is wide, it's horizontal. You can walk from France to China and stay at roughly the same latitude. That means similar climates, similar lengths of day. It was basically a giant superhighway for crops, animals, and ideas to spread like wildfire. But the Americas? They're tall, they're vertical. To get from Mexico down to Peru, you have to cross dense jungles, deserts, massive mountains. It's like hitting a new environmental roadblock every few hundred miles. And the results? Well, you can see them right here. The incredible writing system and calendars the Maya developed, they never, ever made it south to the Inca. An idea or even a useful crop could get stuck for centuries, unable to cross one of those climate barriers. This simple fact of geography meant societies in the Americas were just way more isolated from each other than the folks in Eurasia. Okay, on to our second clue. And this one, it might be even more of a game changer. It's what you might call the animal lottery. And in this lottery, let me tell you, the old world hit the absolute jackpot. I mean, just look at this chart. The difference is absolutely staggering. Of all the big mammals on planet Earth that were even candidates for domestication, almost all of them just happened to live in Eurasia. We're talking horses, cattle, pigs, sheep, goats. The list just goes on and on. And the Americas? They got one. The llama and its cousin, the alpaca. That's pretty much it. And the fallout from winning or losing this lottery, wow, it was huge. In the old world, you suddenly have tons of food, meat, milk, cheese. You have horsepower to plow fields and haul goods, which completely changes the labor game. You get cavalry, which transforms warfare. And, this is the really crucial one, you get germs. For thousands of years, people in Eurasia lived side by side with their animals, building up immunities to nasty diseases like smallpox. The New World had none of that. Their armies fought on foot, their fields were tilled by hand, and their immune systems were what we call virgin soil, totally unprepared for the diseases the Europeans would bring. So you see, this wasn't just about having a couple of useful farm animals. This biological lottery completely changed the path of society, creating a massive lead in technology, military power, and disease resistance.
All right, our third and final clue. And this one goes deep. Because those first two clues, geography and biology, they didn't just create different physical worlds. They created profoundly different worlds of the mind. They actually created totally different ways of thinking about the universe and our place in it.
This slide really breaks down how your environment can shape what you believe. In the old world, you had this constant conflict between settled farmers and wandering herders. This created a worldview that was all about conflict and conquest. Nature was this thing that you had to tame and control. and that led to beliefs about expansion and converting others. But in the Americas, without those big herds, the worldview grew out of the worries of farming and shamanism. The universe wasn't something you conquer, it was this fragile, cyclical thing that you had to keep in balance through ritual.
And this idea, cosmic maintenance, it is absolutely key to understanding the mindset in the Americas. It wasn't just about making the gods happy so they wouldn't get mad at you. No, it was the belief that the universe itself, the sun rising every morning, the rains coming on time, all of it depended on humans doing very specific and often very painful things.
And if you want to understand the logic, this breaks it down perfectly. To the Aztecs, human sacrifice wasn't just random cruelty, it was a terrifying cosmic responsibility. They truly believed that they had to feed the sun god with human hearts and blood just to make sure the sun would rise the next day and the world wouldn't end. It's an ideology focused inward, on maintaining order, not outward, on conquering new people. Okay, now let's flip that coin. Contrast that idea of maintenance with this quote about the old world. Here, the hero is the Lionheart, the conqueror. Battle isn't just a grim necessity, it's a source of wealth and joy and glory. You couldn't have two more different answers to the question, what are we here for? One says, maintain, the other says, conquer. All right, so we've looked at the clues. We've got the shape of the land, the animal lottery, and these totally different ways of seeing the world. It's time to put it all together and deliver the verdict on the mystery of 1492. And really, the answer boils down to this incredibly simple but powerful formula. It wasn't just one thing. It was a chain reaction. Geography shaped biology, and biology then shaped ideology. And altogether, they created this massive, unbridgeable divide between the two worlds.
So let's just lay it all out, one last time. Eurasia's horizontal axis created a huge zone where tech could spread fast. Its jackpot of animals give it power, protein, and plagues. And all that created an ideology of conquest. The Americas' vertical axis created isolation. Its lack of animals meant no horsepower and no immunity. And that led to an ideology of cosmic maintenance.
So in the end, when those ships landed in 1492, it wasn't a meeting of equals, not even close. It was a collision between the outcomes of two totally different 20,000-year-long experiments. And given the huge differences in technology, biology, and just plain worldview, the result was, well, it was almost inevitable. And that just leaves us with one last huge question to chew on. This isn't just something that happened 500 years ago. The patterns of wealth and power we see in the world today are, in so many ways, echoes of this great divide. How much of our modern life is still being shaped by these ancient, powerful forces?